We're going to be in London today, Harrison, South Oldham, Christian Academy in Louisville, Corbin, E-Town, Bardstown, Brandenburg, Somerset, Flemingsburg. So we'll be all over the state, and this is a great time, the satellite camps where we get to get into communities around the state and have our players really touch the fans, so it ends up being a good thing. Let me congratulate Mitch on Athletic Director of the Year in the business what is it? Yeah, which the four guys that he was going against, and for that kind of award, it tells you what he's doing here and the job he does on all fronts. So congratulations to him. All right, questions? I'm really happy with where we are right now. If there's anything that could help us and also help the player, that I would consider that. But this group, I mean, the three guys that obviously considered leaving to go to the NBA, Ashton, who I think will have a breakthrough year based on the fact that he gets it now. He's going to be much more focused on the things. And you talk about Nick, and Nick, I fully expect this to be his breakout year. I mean, the opportunity, the minutes, and then, where he is maturity-wise and physically. He only started playing basketball when he was 14. He wasn't like these other guys playing since he's 8 and 9. This kid started when he was 14. And then EJ, who went through the whole process, which I was happy he did, could have left his name in and would have had a chance for a first-round draft pick. But it wasn't in the position he thought it would be in or wanted it to be in. So he comes back, and I told him, I said, this thing's on you now. What's happened for PJ and the changes that he made for him and our team, I expect the same, if not more, from you. And, with Emmanuel, coming back, you got Brad and Zan. Talk more about Brad later, but then new guys coming in with, I just hit Johnny Juzang. He's not in yet because his school's not out, so he's got another, I think, 2 weeks before he gets here. But, from Tyrese to Khalil to Keon Brooks to Dante. I'm sorry, Dante. My mind is gone. And I saw him. He was shooting yesterday, which is surprising because he had the car accident and coming off the knee stuff, which is pretty good. Got a good core group. And it should be interesting again. I mean, look, recruiting never stops here. You ask me, it just doesn't stop because no one in the history of this, for 10 years has tried to change the team every single year and had to go through what this program has gone through, not by design. If you're doing right by the kids, you're trying to help and promote, and yet it hasn't set us back on our heels. I would say more wins and more NCAA wins, more league, league champ, draft. I mean, it hasn't. Would we have liked to have won more national titles? Yeah, I would have liked to have had 10 since I've been here. But, what we do and how we advance and how we give ourselves a chance, and how these kids improve. And, now it's like, okay, how do we just continue to move this program?
John, when the college time came back for a third year in the line, really came on. Are there similarities with his journey and what makes them do?
Well, you know what? Yes, in that they both started playing basketball later than you would expect. Willie was playing football. And And so those similarities are there, but they're different kinds of players. But they can, both of them, I mean, you know, if Nick is in the kind of condition and physically and mentally ready to do this, he blocks shots, he rebounds above the rim, be that guy. I think the game is changing a little bit where, you know, we've got to get our bigs trailing a little bit, spacing the court a little bit, but this could be one of the longest teams that I've coached. I mean, I looked at Keon, shoot, he looks at least 6'9", maybe 6'10". I mean, he's long. So we're going to have a pretty long, when you talk the guys that we have, a pretty long team too.
John, you got a quick look with Nick from time to time. If he doesn't get a rebound, something like that, doesn't contest a shot, he's out.
When you make a mistake, I sub you immediately. If you miss a shot, you're out. If you turn, that's all bullshit. But what it is your competitive spirit. Are you adding to the team? What's happening to the game when we stick you in, because we are here to win. But like I said, his opportunity, like all these guys, there's no, you know, you're responsible for you, take what you want. That's what this program has always been about. You take what you want. You want to be a starter, take the job. You want to be a guy that can score baskets, then score baskets. Well, if you let me shoot more, come on now. Got 10 other guys here. So he hadn't been treated any different than any other player here. And now he's got this opportunity in front of him. He's going to have to go take it. But it's still an opportunity. I mean, it's his job to go take it. I believe he will. I believe in the kid probably in the first 2 years more than he believed in himself. And now I'm not the only one. I think a lot of people are saying with his size and length, who's like him in the country? There is nobody. There's no one like him in the country. So now it's his chance.
You mentioned Brad earlier. Where are you guys as a family in that decision process?
He's still walking through it. I mean, I didn't know all the stuff went crazy. He puts his name in the portal. How does the media get it within a minute? That's supposed to be for colleges, not for the media. But the media, I'm researching that. How does the media have all this? It was out within 30 seconds he put his name in. The night before he says, Dad, if I want to do this, how do I do it? I said, you got to put your name in the portal to get started. It was a 2-minute conversation. The next morning, he put his name in without telling me, his mom, his sisters, anybody. He didn't think anything, but the media got it within 30 seconds, and all of a sudden it's trending nationally, and Cal and his son are having a fist fight, and he's leaving. What? I mean, you know, do you blame him all the work? He was in here 3 times yesterday working out. Do you blame him for wanting to play more and knowing who's here? Has he gotten better? Absolutely he's gotten better. But he's, you know, so now he can look around. And if I even told him, look at Division II. What's wrong with that? Go to where you're well coached, where you get a chance, where you know, a good league. Division II basketball, they're just a little smaller, but you got talented guys. But, you know, he may end up coming back, like he's in the lodge and, you know, all the stuff and in classes, so he may come back, but I'm proud that he graduated in 3 years. It took me 6. I mean, he graduates in 3 years and is playing every day against guys like this, and he survives and he thrives and he gets better. I mean, what he's taking from this, his commitment to how he trains, how he eats, what he does is going to help him with anything, especially after basketball when it's done. Take that and do what your sister did, which was the same thing, and shift it over to here, and you're going to be unique and special at whatever you want to do.
How's Mama handling the possibility?
Well, Mom said if he leaves, she's going with him, so I don't know if that's a good thing, but hope she was kidding. Maybe she wasn't. But, you know, The ideal thing would be him having more of an opportunity here. Just, I'd love to do it, but that's my own son. Has to be earned, and you have to deserve it, and you have to take what you want, and the other guy's trying to take what he wants. If he's better than you, I'm playing him. If you're not doing your thing and you're changing the game, guess what? I'm taking you out. This thing's about winning and you being responsible for you. And the hardest thing here is when you're not playing enough or a lot, and then you get your opportunity to play, you're still held to a high standard here. But that's why guys leave here and none of the stuff phases them after. They leave here and they weren't lied to in the process. And I say this, some of the, families will be mad at their coach. Well, if you're mad at him, either he wasn't telling you the truth, or you wanted to hear a lie and he told it to you. You wanted to hear something that he was willing to tell you, and now you're mad at him for telling you what you wanted to hear. Don't be mad, just move on and go on. So I look at this and just tell you that, again, for my son and all these kids, this is hard here. This is not easy. And if you're not willing to work, you should not come here, because there's someone in there that's working. And if you think, well, I should play just because, no, you take what you want. And it's a competitive environment. We're not recruiting you and never recruiting again. But if you're afraid of anybody in this program, well, and I'm going to go to the NBA because, you're not afraid of anybody up there? I mean, this stuff is a competitive environment, and you got to want this, and then you take what you want.
Those guys have moved on. Muhammad Yell had a really good start at Oak City. It surprised some people. Teams adjusted him a little bit. He had to make some adjustments. Where do you kind of see his development?
He got injured, and here's what's tough about that league. It's an unforgiving league. Fate intervenes and you get injured, and the guy that stepped in for you starts playing out of his mind. Well, now you got to wait your turn. That's why I say, can't make the club in the tub. Don't get injured. But you get injured. It happens. But I think he's going to be fine. I'm anxious to see Jared, what happens for him when he's healthy and able to play and do some stuff. Obviously, Shea was one of the best rookies. And Kevin Knox is 19 now. He's probably the youngest rookie in the NBA, and I told the Knicks it's going to take him time, but when he breaks through, he's a 6'9" kid that can score, and they're getting him to rebound and drive the ball and all the stuff that we started here, that they're getting it done. So I think that whole core guys and Hami's, again, one of my favorites, simply because this stuff was really hard for him. And he never wavered. We never wavered. I never wavered with him. But, I'm anxious. And I even said, well, how injured were you? And he said, yeah, I was injured. But, But the guy that started playing, I think his name was Schroeder, started playing out of his mind. Like, he looked like Lou Williams from the Clippers. I'm saying, you know what? Now you're playing. It's how that league is. It's an unforgiving league. He'll be a difference maker on both ends because he can block shots. He's quick to the ball. He's got to get physically stronger, mentally a little tougher. Got to be in some wars, all those kind of things. But the upside for him is ridiculous. And I said many times, I got to find more minutes for him last year. I said it over and over. He'd come out and do stuff, and I said he deserves more minutes, but it's hard because the two guys he played behind were men, like grown men. And he physically wasn't, or mentally, where those two were. And I told, the people that were with him, I said, you'd have any team call me, and I'll tell them why, he should have played more and everything. I would have supported him in any way because I think his upside is as much as, I've had about 4 or 5 guys maybe I would say were beyond where he is, but there's not many that have an upside that he has. You got 2 guys. What if one of them gets hurt right now? Now you're playing 4 guards. which I haven't done before, but I try to figure it out. I mean, it's, Nate right now, we forgot Nate, to mention Nate. Nate's hurt, just got out of the boot, so he hasn't really run yet. I expect good things from Nate. I mean, the way he scores the ball, stretches the defense athletically, he's physically strong. Yesterday, he came in my office. I said, "Hey, did you just get in?" "Yeah." "Did your parents bring you down?" He goes, "No." "Oh, I forgot you're older. You drive yourself around." So,
How different is he than Reed Travis?
different players, but physically strong, great kid, and great mentality about this. Knows, he's got to work. Nothing's going to be given to him. He wants to see how good he could be. And the way you get better here is the day-to-day grind, mastering your craft, falling back on that work, playing competitively every day in practice and every day in the summer. Should be fun.
You expect the same locker room influence and having someone older that you got from Reed?
Every team is different. I think this is going to be a great group again. I mean, you can't come here and be totally into yourself, or it's all about me taking all the shots, or somebody who's aloof and stands off. You can't be in this program and make that. Now, there are other programs where one or two guys shoot all the balls and do all the other stuff. That's not here. It's just not here. So I would expect us to have a good crew of kids, and that's why by the end of the year, we're playing our best basketball. We'll keep growing because you got a bunch of good guys that know the staff's in it for them. They need to be in it for each other, and your team eventually gets to where they need to go, by the end of the year.
With all these guards coming in, it seems like Emmanuel sometimes gets lost in the mix. What do you expect from him this year? I mean, he was playing pretty well towards the end of last year.
Yeah, he played well, shot the ball well. He's gotten better. I expect him to have a breakout year. I mean, he did some really good stuff last year. A lot of this for these young kids is just the mentality you have to have. You miss a shot, amnesia, next, I'm playing. But it's hard when you're young like these kids. We're doing this with young freshmen. But he's one of the great teammates, terrific, got so much better defensively, so much better defensively. And, he's getting a better feel for this. One of the things that I'm a little concerned about in this great game that we coach, kids are starting to just be about individual workouts. Like my own son, Brad, that cone has no arms. You need to play pickup basketball like we all grew up with. Not you all, you guys didn't, I don't know. Anybody here ever play this game? Okay, so you played pickup, which meant you might play with 5 guys or 4 other guys that you don't even know. Or they're your teammates that you just take your whole team to places to play, but you gain a feel for the game, how to space the court. You can't do it in a one-on-one workout. You just can't. I mean, your skills get better and you master your skills, but playing pickup basketball and having some basic rules, you can't shoot it till everybody crosses the court, which makes everybody run. Offense does not call the fouls. Defense calls the foul. If he doesn't call a foul and he fouled the crap out of you down the other end, foul the crap out of him. Okay, so now we're not calling it if that's how you're going to play. You learn to communicate and deal with situations that way. The spacing of the court, you're playing pick and roll or isolation or throwing it ahead and driving. I mean, you can do all that stuff. And I want this group to be playing pickup 3 days a week, maybe more. Versus you need individual work. You need to master your skills. You need to master the things that you want to use in the season. And there's some things you don't do well. Well, work on those. But the reality of it is this is a game played 5-on-5. This is a game that's played with chemistry. Communication skills have gone down. You say, why? Because everybody's like this. So when you're on the court, you won't believe this, you can't bring your phone out there. You're not texting a guy, I went back door, it was wide open, why didn't you throw it to me? Bing, I did not see you. Bang, you should have seen me. Well, I didn't see. I mean, so you're on that basketball court, your phones are on the side, and you're playing, and you learn to, you're communicating, you're talking to one another. What do you know, LOL, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, so I want these guys to play against each other, to learn about each other. I want guard combinations to be different. Let the bigs guard each other. Let different guys play one of those 4 spots. So maybe you have a 3-man playing as a 4, you just stretch the court. You learn different things.
Dan, what do you think of expanding alcohol sales at Rupp, and so all the fans can drink while they're watching the game?
I'm not a big drinker. I don't drink much, so I do before the games. I drink. No, I don't. You know, I mean, it's the way of the world right now. I don't know. Have we made a decision on the campus?
Not bad decision.
I'll roll with whatever they want to do. Obviously, we have students in that building that are underage that shouldn't be drinking. I would just hope our fans kind of police each other if they go that route, because I've been in arenas that have been obnoxious, and there's teams that we will not play because it was so obnoxious that I'm saying I'm not putting my team or myself or my staff or my family through that, and we're not going back there and playing. So I hope that if we do go this route, it doesn't lead to that, because we have the classiest fans. We've given standing ovations to other players on opposing teams because they played so well. I'm not sure if you're totally whacked if you would do that. I mean, I don't know. But I would say, I just hope it doesn't change if we go that route. It does not change what we're about. We beat the #1 team in our building. Do our fans rush the court and try to? No. No, we're supposed to win. That's what we're about. They cheer for us. They don't cheer or boo the other team. They very rarely will. They don't boo the other coach. We have a unique environment, and if that adds to it and makes it even better, fine. If it takes away, then I'd be disappointed.
I think you've only had the same starting point guard 2 years in a row once here. How big a deal is it to have that?
What year was that?
Andrew was in 14 to 15.
Yeah.
How big a deal is it to have that position instead of what you want to have?
I mean, it's nice to have players back. We have 3 really good players back. I mean, it's really with Emmanuel 4 really quality players back. The last time we had 4 players back that were quality players like that, I believe it was 14, 15, where we had guys that were, you know, so it's nice. Look, I enjoy coaching guys 2 and 3 and 4. You know, you in this, what I do, you just want people when they leave that they're prepared and they're ready for success. That's the whole thing. We've had some guys leave too early, but wasn't my choice. And matter of fact, they were counseled, might be too early, you may want to think about this, but when they decide to do it, you're all over it to help them. But it's nice to have guys back. And I do hope my son comes back, to be honest, because I'd like to coach him another year. But on the other side, if he chose to leave, I'd be at as many games as I could be at to watch him.
Now, when you mentioned the pickup games that you like you guys to do, mix and match and kind of.
You can play 4 and 4. You don't have to be 5 on 5. You can play 4 on 4. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's just that I think you need to play.
So the guys you have coming in seem to be a lot of interchangeable
Yes.
type functions. Is that by design?
Well, the game's going that way. How many post-up basketball players do they have in the NBA right now? What? Yeah, maybe. And those guys don't want to be in there either. How many true point guards are in those positions, or are they scoring, playmaking guards? They're no, like, I'm a set-up point guard, and they just don't have it anymore. So, you know, I watch Eric Bledsoe, who, one of my favorites, just because absolutely was a competitive spirit fighter, calm kind of guy. Occasionally he got, a little bit crazy, but you see him now with the ball in his hands. It's like Jamal Murray, ball in his hands. They can do that because they learned to play basketball here. They can play off the ball. If you need them to score, they can play on the ball. That's interchangeable. And also, 2s, 3s, and 4s should be interchangeable. You're stretching the court out. You're trying to be, if you're a strict, when Tyler came here, jump shooter, you can't be that guy. You got to be able to get to the rim. You got to be able to bounce it and make plays at the basket. Because if that's all you do is stretch the court and shoot jumpers, they will take that away. If you can't shoot, they're not playing you. So now it's 5 versus 4. So now it's like they will play everybody. Can you put it on the floor? And that's why interchangeable. Even if you're the 4-man, you got to be able to put the ball on the floor. You got to be able to get the ball and get by people, get to the rim, to draw players for 3s or the next drive. The NBA right now is going to drive it, pass it, drive it, pass it, shoot it. And it's random. That's how they're playing. A lot of the game has become random.
About 5 more minutes. Scott, can you differentiate for me what I saw coming over basically what you were talking about earlier? Because me not being a great basketball player.
You weren't, I heard, but that's okay.
But anyway, nevertheless, differentiate the fact that we're talking about 8 guys getting together and playing 4-on-4, whereby they're up and down the court. You call, it's just unofficiated.
Yeah.
Where you take my head off this head, I'm gonna take your head off.
Yeah. No layups.
Yes, no layups, right. That as opposed to 8 guys playing is totally officiated, totally structured.
Well, here's the one thing I'm going to say that happens, and you tell me, in a pickup game where there's no real rules in officiating, and a guy plays so loose and calm and just plays, and you look at him and say, wow. My point is, that's the mindset you have to be in when you're playing. The problem is the other guy is fighting like crazy, talking, doing stuff. You're having to play with a little more structure. If that takes away from you as a player, it's your responsibility to figure, how do I get back in that mode where I'm swinging freely? How do I get back in that? Well, every time I make a mistake, I come out, I got a quick hook. Stop. Those are excuses. How do you get into that mindset? Playing freely. That's why I want them to play pickup. I watch you in a pickup game, you're unbelievable. You get in when there's people, well, Coach, when you watch, I hate to tell you, I'm going to be watching every game. You better figure out how you play with me watching, because I watch. So that is all what I'm talking about, Lonnie, how you get to where you understand, wow, I could be this good. There are guys that I coach that I say, you don't even know how good you could be. You're holding yourself back. Now, you can use every excuse. I just read a great email of a minor league baseball coach. No excuses, no complaining. And he would jump on that, whether it was travel, no excuses, no complaining. Like, for me, how could I ever complain about anything? What's happened for me in my life? I'm coaching at Kentucky. How do I complain? Mad or make excuse? What? And I say to my players, you're coaching here. You're playing at Kentucky. You have an opportunity to, for the rest of your life, go and do. What would you complain about? What would you make excuses about? You have that habit. It's always somebody else, and I'm making an excuse why I'm not what I'm supposed to be, whether it's the coach, whether it's another player, whether it's the officials, whether you're tired, I got to go to class, and that makes excuse. It's an excuse. You're at Kentucky. 40 guys have gotten drafted. 20-some in the lottery. $2 billion in contracts. Take what you want. No one holds you back. You got a coaching staff that promotes everybody, not 1 or 2 guys. You 2 shoot all the balls. The rest of you set screens, and that's it. I know we told you 2 you would shoot 2, but now that you're here, you can't. You're going to set screens. That's not here. And if you could score 30 points in a game or 40 points in a game, go do it. You ain't taking 50 shots to do it because we got other guys here that can play. You've had guys in the country that do that, did it with one player, 3 guys transfer. Really good players. They left because you're letting him shoot all the ball. We don't do, if whatever you want to hear, someone will tell you in this profession I'm in. If you want to get lied to, you will be lied to, and then deal with it. Don't be mad, don't make excuses. You understood what you were walking into. It's what you wanted to hear. This is different. So I'm just saying that you think of any of our players that if they're making excuses or complaining, stop. I read that this morning. I said that should be my thing, and that's what I should drive. More than anything else, I don't want to hear your excuse. I don't want to hear you complain. We don't do that here. How do I get better? What's the next step? And my staff and me, we should be the same way. We're at Kentucky. You kidding me? And they want me to stay here, which is amazing. I mean, it's...
John, congratulations on your lifetime contract.
That's a lifetime contract. We haven't, this lifetime you know, they'll declare me dead in 2 years. How about that? Now that's your lifetime. Yeah.
How close were you really to taking the UCLA job?
No. Look, here's what I would say. University talked to me most of the year. Like, we want you to be here the rest of your career. How do we do this? What do we do? Let's sit down and talk. And that was ongoing. I get calls every year from different people, and you know why I'll talk? At the end of the day, I may be able to help somebody else. If I know that I can help somebody else who's helping assistance, I do that. But I'll listen to people talk to me. I mean, I owe that to the profession, to myself, to say, well, I'll never talk to somebody. Some of these people that I talk to, I've been on committees with. I know the guy really well, or I know who this person is. So for me, everybody would say, why would he ever leave Kentucky for anywhere? You're right. Why would I? What would lead me? A better situation, more committed to basketball? Money, staff? Tell me why I would do this. He's tired of being here. He's tired of the fans. Really? This is your whole career. You're trying to get to a point where you're at a program where it really matters and fans are engaged. You never have to sell a ticket. Your son does something small and it trends nationally. If I speak, it's like E.F. Hunton. What did I say that they went crazy about? I didn't say. This is the place. And where else can you prepare young people for the rest of their lives the way we do here? Now, you got me, because I got a letter yesterday, and I'll probably respond to it. A guy that says, I can never be for one and done, unless it was my son. He didn't say that. But I can never be for one and done because these kids should be in school for 4 years, and it should be about education. Let me just say this. The flip side of it, our kids, I just talked to Terrence Jones, who's coming back to campus to start academics. He was here 2 years. So now I said, you know what's great is he's going through this process of trying to get back in the NBA. You always have a backstop. You can come back, your education is paid for, okay? So this guy says these kids don't want to be in school. Not true. They should just go right to the NBA, or if not, G League or Europe or Y League. But they shouldn't be on a college campus, really. Okay, so as 9th graders, 8th graders, 10th, you're telling all these kids, forget about academics, just try to be an NBA player. So now we all of a sudden, there's 10,000 kids that start saying, I'm not worried about academics, because we're discouraging education. We discourage it now. Go play pro. What's the demographic look like that we're saying it to? What's that demographic look like? So now we want to throw another thing on top of saying you're getting arrested more, you're getting more sentences, you're doing this, your jobs, you're this, you're that, and we're telling you, chase that NBA dream. Chase it. How many make it? 1% or less. You can be the 1%. What happens to the other 99% that don't make it? Who's taking care of them? We are. I mean, tell me what they're going to do to make a living when you had them chase a dream that's outrageous. Now, they go to college and get a lifetime scholarship. They can leave after a year. What if they stay 4 years? What if they stay 2 years? What if they still chase their dreams, but they get that year under their belt to do it? To say none of them belong in college? Not true. They could be going to the G League for the last 10 years. They could have gone to the G League. Why didn't they go? Why didn't they go to the G League? Now they're saying we're going to build up the G League to make it what it is so we can encourage kids not to go to school to go. All I'm saying is kids should be able to go directly out of high school to the NBA. You know what? That'll be 7, 8 kids a year. They should go. Of that 7 or 8, probably 5 will make it. 4, the other 3 won't, but they'll be paid enough that they could, unless they, they throw their money away, they should be fine. The others, if you have no desire, they have kids going to Europe. I haven't seen one make it yet that has gone that route, that has truly made it, okay? Or you go to college. What if they stay 1 year when they come with us? I'm fine. It's not about me. It's about these kids. It's not about diminishing education. You do if you tell them, don't worry about education, go directly to the NBA, and if you can't make it there, go G League, and if you can't make it there, go to Y, and then figure out the rest of your life on your own. You would want your son to be encouraged not to be educated and chase this professional dream, your own son. Now you got me, when I read the letter, I'm not mad, but people get this thought of one and done, they don't go to class. Do our kids go to class? Our kids leave here in good academic standing, every one of them except one. And the one was my first year. Everyone that's left here is left in good academic standing, so they can come back. So all that stuff, well, they don't go the second term. You're just saying stuff. You're mad. You're an angry person that just keeps saying stuff. But it's not true. Now, on other campuses, the kids leave after they're done. They may. They don't hear. We have a responsibility for these kids the rest of their life, not just while they're here, the rest of their life. Are we doing right by them? We're trying.
Guys, time for 1 or 2 more.
What about Grin in Canada? What does he, how
Who?
did that come about? Grin in Canada, walk on?
Joel brought him in, and he really wanted to be here, and so, he's going to walk on. I saw him yesterday in the gym, but, he's a big kid. He's pretty skilled. He's in a competitive environment.
How important is it to see how DeMarcus Cousins, what all he's gone through and how he's...
I'm amazed. I'm amazed. That injury, and he came back, and you and I know he didn't have to come back, but they're so beat up, and he wants to help them win a world championship. And I watched him. I'm sitting there going like, wow. Now, again, the impact, and my hope is he continues on this kind of pace, because I think someone's going to say, if you rated his numbers, centers and power forwards, my guess is he'd be in the top 2 or 3 in both categories, whether he was a center or power forward. His numbers would be 1, 2, maybe 3. They could be 1 in both as a 5 or a 4. My hope is that he proves that he's healthy enough that someone gives him the kind of contract he deserves. Fate has intervened. Some of it self-inflicted. We do things to ourselves. And then some of it just is fate. And fate hit him with that injury.
John, what do you think there, they may move the three-point line back a little further from the basket?
Are they doing it?
They proposed it, it's not passed yet.
I think it's,
Who proposed it?
This dude.
one of the subcommittees of the NCAA. I think it's going to be decided this week, one way or the other. Moving the line back, shorter shot line after offensive rebound.
That I like. I like that. I think there should be challenged calls late in the game. You should be able to challenge a call, a made call or a non-made call. I challenge that. Then go to the monitor and look at it. It'll extend the game. Are we worried about time or getting it right? Who wins, who loses? When you like to get it right, well, we've never done that. Why do you talk and do things that have never, well, how do you make it better? You make it so that the call is right. The three-point line going back, well, to open up the lane, maybe. I mean, I don't know. The idea may be that they want everybody on the same plane from FIBA to whatever that may be the reason. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. But there are other things that I think would be important, one of them being let's be able to challenge calls, and including non-calls. I don't know exactly how you would do a non-call, when you would stop it, how far back. If you were looking at a call, could you evaluate other things within the call? This happened before, and maybe 4 seconds before and 8 seconds. I don't know. Maybe it's just that thing we're looking at. You challenge and don't get it, it's a timeout.